Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. Today we continue our music theory series right here at BusyWorksBeats.com/music theory. Today we're going to focus on key modulation, which is when you go outside of the key on purpose. So we're going to start in the key of C major here. We're going to move to the relative scale, which is A natural minor, but you can move to any key and scale that you like using the techniques. So firstly, we're going to write in basic C major, which is all the white notes starting from C. These are called scale degrees, and we're building out chords. I don't have time to explain all the fundamentals. If you guys want to learn the fundamentals of music theory, go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory essentials. I'll guide you guys through the components of how to even do this. So here we have a 1-4-5-1 chord progression. You could kind of flip these top notes down. Make it a little more gospel. Okay, so that sounds a little more modern and more gospel. Now, let's say we want to go outside of the key. So we're going to copy this exact chord progression, but at the end here, what we'll do is use a 2-5-1 chord progression. So the 2 and the 5 are going to come from the next scale. Okay, the main thing here is that we are positioning the dominant chord to resolve into the tonic of the next scale. I know that sounds like foreign language, but basically every note starts with a root note. And then if you count up 7 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you have what's called a perfect fifth. This note always wants to come back down to the tonic, it's called. So it's just know the number 7. It's the tonic, count up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gives you G. G always wants to come back down to C. That's called the dominant to tonic resolution. So what we're doing with the 2-5-1 chord progression is creating a new resolution point, going outside of the key on purpose, using a dominant chord, and then forcing our ear to want to land in the tonic of a different scale. So that's how it works fundamentally. It sounds more complicated than what it is. So let's set this up here. Let's just do a little more of a complicated chord. Let's do a minor ninth chord here. And let's then do the dominant ninth. Now, the way I think of this is wherever I'm trying to land. Let's say I'm trying to land on A minor ninth. Okay, so I'm using chord extensions here to make this sound a little more musical. Okay, so wherever I'm trying to land, I'm going to use that dominant chord. But again, the dominant note or the fifth wants to resolve to the tonic. So if this is the tonic, we need to find the fifth. Just count up 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives you E. So in other words, this chord needs to start at E. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to show you guys. Now for more advanced folks, we're going to take the 5th and 9th and raise that to create an altered chord. Okay, so I'm showing you guys the more jazz expression for it because you can mess with the ninth, the dominant ninth chord and alter that. So now let's take this chord progression that we had before and make this a little more jazz sounding. So let's make these major chords major ninths. And I believe we have 2 C chords here. And then we have an F major ninth, and then we inverted the 3rd and the 5th. Now on this chord, curious what we're going to invert, so I might just play that down an octave. So I normally played it like this, but let's see where we want to place these notes, because that doesn't sound the same anymore. And then we had G major. Okay, so all I'm doing is just making these chords a little more lush sounding, adding more notes to it so that it fits the vibe, and then we'll do C. Okay, so it looks more complex, but all we did was really just make the chords bigger. It's the same exact chord structure for the most part. So we have C major, F major ninth, G major ninth, C major ninth, C major ninth, F major ninth, and then here's where we're setting up the 2-5-1. Okay, so it's D minor ninth, and then we're going to the 5th of the next scale, and then we're landing on the tonic of the next scale. Now you can also do the 2 of the next scale, but Let's see what that would even sound like. That sounds pretty cohesive. So either or. Let's just go by ear though. Normally I wouldn't play these. Okay, so normally, again, when you play 2-5-1, it's 2-5-1 starting from the beginning in like a tresillo pattern. So let me give you guys a more realistic playing style. That was more like technical. Let's get into more traditional. So let's start off with D minor ninth. This is our minor, our second scale degree. That is a minor chord. And then we'll go into the dominant ninth starting at G. Now I'm going to use what's called a tritone substitution. We teach this in Music Theory Magic at busyworksbeats.com/Music Theory Magic 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here, when I'm starting to use these advanced techniques, this is going to give us that R&B sound. So here we have a 2, 5, and then we're going to go back into the tonic, which is our major ninth. And again, I break all this down in the simple form in our Music Theory Essentials course so that it's not as complex as this. So this is a 2-5-1 in the C major scale. Then we're using the 2 from the major scale, the 5 of the A natural minor scale, the different scale, and then we're landing on the tonic of the different scale. And I forgot to give it the timing. So we're going to use what's called tresillo, which is like tresillo, tresillo, like that. Okay, so let's drag these notes over so that it has a more realistic timing here. And for people who watch me a lot, you guys know this sound. But a lot of people don't understand the importance of key modulation or why it works and how it works. Okay, so I missed that by a couple notes. All right, so this is a more realistic application. Add some effects to it. And then we're going to swap it out for a lo-fi piano. So let's open up Labs. If you guys want a lo-fi piano, there's a Labs piano called Soft Piano. And it's really good for lo-fi chords like this. So hopefully it lets me log in and we don't have to waste time logging in. All right, so look for the free tab. They've updated this plugin so it looks a little bit different. So we're going to go to the free tab. I'm going to go to my downloadeds so we don't see everything. But you guys can look for what's called the Soft Piano. And here it is. Okay, so we're going to click on it and then click the articulation we want. Okay, so now we have it. And let's copy that chord progression to this sound and run it through our sound effects. Now we have a super lo-fi sound. Let's humanize this a little bit. Let's go to Tools, Humanize. You can get this script from the image line. Forums, there's another script called Remove Overlaps because when you use the Humanize script, it will create overlaps on your notes. So we're going to chop the excess off. So let's copy the same chord progression. Let's go to a different key just to show you guys you don't have to go to A natural minor. Keep in mind, A natural minor is the relative scale of C major, which means they both use the same exact notes. So that's why it seems like you could just, it's seamless. So what I'll do is I'll transpose this just to show you guys you don't have to use the relative scale. So now we're in what, F sharp minor. Now that was a little low, so we're gonna try pulling this up. And it has to be the lowest one. Now what I'll do to make this a little more cohesive is do a tritone substitution, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This way we can chromatically kind of walk down. So now we're going to the C minor scale, which is a parallel mode. So we're just going to keep going out of key on purpose here. Let me up the buffer length. All right, so at the end, we're going to purposely do a different key here. So I'm going to go by ear. Okay, so we picked all different keys to transition into. Now, some are more natural feeling than others, but it's all about the dominant to tonic resolution. That's what allows our ear to go out of key. So I'm going to highlight all the keys, all the key modulation. So we're going out of key on purpose every time the notes are pink. So it all feels cohesive because of those fundamental music theory concepts. Okay, so that's how that works. If you want to learn more, go to busyworksbeats.com/music theory magic, because I go way deeper with this concept, along with intervallic resolution, key modulation, modal interchange. You know, there's a lot of different things you guys can use as techniques, but that will make your song feel like it's not just the same thing happening over and over and over again, but it still feels cohesive. If you're new here, subscribe, like this video, share with a friend, and let me know what you guys want to see next. Peace.